If you're like me, I'm always looking for a new and delicious dinner idea. Today on Cooking Made Easy with June, I'm whipping up some buttermilk chicken on angel hair pasta. It's super easy and super yummy. So join me for an awesome recipe on Spanish Fork 17's cooking show, brought to you by Macy's, the happy shopping store in Spanish Fork. It's fine. Hello everyone, welcome to Cooking Made Easy with June. First of all, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to bring you my kitchen and share with you my recipes. I'm just so grateful. I was just thinking about that. It's been like 5 or 6 years now. I'm just so excited to be here. So today we are making a really quick, easy dinner. My family loves this. It's so easy. Sometimes, after a while they go, oh, well, Mom, why don't you make that angel hair pasta? I couldn't think of something to make for dinner or something. So actually the history of this is that I'm going to age myself again, but when Katie Couric, if you remember her, she was on a news show and she started doing some little recipes on occasion, and she actually had them make this. And so of course I modified it a little bit, but she actually did make this chicken and the gravy and put it on pasta. So anyways, we've just loved it. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to start off by just boiling my water for the pasta, and it may start and get done before I'm ready for it, but it's okay. So when I boil water for pasta, I always like to add a little bit of olive oil. It kind of adds a little flavor, and also it so the pasta doesn't stick too much. And I also like to add some salt, which again adds flavor. And I heard, I don't know for sure, is that it does help it start to boil up a little bit faster. But we don't need that water until near the end. So I'll just put it on medium-high. Okay, so the first thing is your chicken, boneless, skinless chicken. About a pound will make serve about 4 people. And the big thing that I remember on that show when she was showing me is to have a really thin chicken. So I have here trimmed chicken, and I kind of gotten to where I'm using my gloves now because I got this box of 50. So when I work with the meat and stuff or something too messy, I like to do the gloves. So anyways, so we can just do a quick cleanup and not ruin my hands and nails too much. Those nails are expensive to get done. But I always give a shout out for my daughter, Amory Averett. She's just starting doing nails at the school as a side thing that she loves. She's really artistic. So anyways, Amy Averett on Instagram. She just started that today. Okay, so I trimmed this chicken from Macy's. Macy's actually has chicken that you can actually buy already trimmed, which if you're in a big hurry, you just grab that. And this one, I actually sliced it the lengthwise, so it's thinner. You know how some of the chicken breasts are really, really big? And so I take a piece of parchment paper, and I'm just gonna pound it really, really thinly. So not on the hard side, the pokey side. Looks like a weapon, doesn't it? And then, but on this side. So I'm just going to pound it thinly. So, okay, see now it's coming up that way. I can move it over a little bit. So this piece, I'll probably end up cutting it in half. So I'm going to pound it, give it room. So I want it really, really thin. So we're going to do a quick fry. Yeah, this is so fun. I do this when I chop chicken or my Thai dishes. I love it. It just gives me some outlet. Like I say, cooking is awesome. It's a great outlet. And this type of outlet, you can just I just am so mad at that person. Or you can say, yay! Like, Chris crashed his car. Dang it. I didn't say a word. Darn it. In my classroom, I always say H-E-double-K. Anyways, okay, so that's really thin. So I'm going to, see, but that part is so I'm gonna make it that kind of even. And maybe that's even more when you fry it, it's going to shrink up a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna cut that into two pieces. See, look, it's gonna be so tender. But what I'm gonna do is I have some already done, the rest, I just wanted to show you that part, but I did a bunch of it, and I actually soaked it in buttermilk overnight. But you can actually just soak it for like maybe 30 minutes to an hour. And the purpose of the buttermilk that I love about buttermilk and meat is it tenderizes it, but it also, what it also does is that it, when we fry it, we're gonna kind of fry it, it's going to give it a, what do you call it, a little bit crispiness to it. So I'm just gonna throw it in here, even though I didn't really marinate that overnight. But if you notice, I made it really thin, but when you marinate in the buttermilk, it's gonna come out, it's gonna kind of absorb that, but it's still thin enough to fry, right? So, okay, so I have that in there. And I'm gonna turn on the stove on high and put on some buttermilk. So now I'm making a lot, so this is a huge pan, but so we're gonna put about, per recipe, a quarter cup. We're not gonna deep fry it, but we're gonna put a pretty good amount, at least cover the bottom of your pan. So I'm just trying to get a pretty good amount like that. Let's see, a little bit more. Now, some people, I know there's options about olive oil. There's some that are like light. I actually love the full flavor. I love the flavor of full extra virgin olive oil because I feel like it adds this extra flavor to recipes. So you're gonna add some, cover that with olive oil, and then I'm going to add butter. So if you're like, not into the butter and oil, but that's where the flavor is, you guys. So this recipe does have quite a bit of butter. And so I'm gonna get let me see my spatula. So you're going to add your half a cup of butter in there. And this is going to melt it. I'm gonna turn it up high. Did I have it on high? Okay. So I'm gonna melt this butter. All right, so I'm just gonna let that melt for a minute, but what you want it on high, okay? So while that's melting, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my a pan of flour. Let me put this over. So you want to have some flour. Now, if you have, like me, I don't have it this time, but soft rising flour, it has that baking soda and salt in it a little bit. You like to use that, but I don't have any today, but which is fine. It's still going to be great. So it's kind of like mimicking the southern fried chicken, but we're using boneless, skinless chicken. So I really should do a southern fried chicken show because it's so yummy. Anyway, so I have my buttermilk. I kind of shake off some of the shake off some of the buttermilk. You can hear my butter sizzling over there. And then I'm going to just lay a piece there. Again, like if you are in a hurry, oh my gosh, I didn't soak the butter, but you could still make this dish. It would still be good. Katie Couric actually did not soak hers in buttermilk. She just did like a thin recipe and add salt and pepper and then coat it with flour, which also works. Then you can change your recipe name, so not buttermilk chicken, right? So I'm just gonna put a few pieces here and coat it up a little bit. Now, you can salt it here at this point. I guess you can put a tiny bit, but you can always salt it after if you're worried about, I don't want it to be too salty because it's thin chicken, right? So I'm just gonna put a little bit here. And let me change my gloves because I put chicken on this. Okay, so I'm gonna put some pepper. But you can do this after, like I said. Okay, so that I can hear the sizzling over there. And now, you know what? The best thing is to really use a cast iron pan where it's gonna really crisp it up. But in this recipe, you know what? It doesn't really matter. It's not gonna take too long to cook. It'll still be crispy. It'll still be yummy. So I'm going to just do this. Now, you can also put your flour in a bag and shake it, but then you have to add more flour. But I'm just gonna add a little bit. Okay, so the pieces aren't gonna be really pretty, but it'll still be yummy, right? I'm gonna go ahead and add the chicken onto the pan. Okay. Make sure it's on high. Now, I really should have used a cast iron, but it'll still work. I don't know why this is not getting hot. There we go. Oh, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna do some more. I'll let that go on there. So you're gonna get some of these little pieces that break off, but they're still gonna be so good for this dish. Whoa. So again, make it thin. So I feel like I'm ambidextrous sometimes. I use both of my hands. Okay, I'm gonna add some salt and pepper and a little bit of pepper, and then turn it over and try to get a full pan on here. This shouldn't take long to cook. Okay, so press it down, make sure you get covered with, and it doesn't have to completely cover it all over the place, right? Just enough to get a little bit of a crust. Okay, shake that off. Da-da-da. Try not to do a double layer. Try to do a single layer. That should have been like a shorter piece, but that's okay. Ah! You can always cut it up. Okay, so I'm gonna move it over, make sure everything fits. As many pieces as you can per batch. Now these will be chicken nuggets, right? The little pieces. Okay, so we're just gonna do that. And once it gets brown on the one side, then you're just gonna turn it over. Okay, so I've actually made several batches, actually. So you've got the little darker pieces from the last first batch, right? So I've added extra butter and olive oil so I can continue to fry up. So I've got some in here. And while this is finishing up, I'm gonna go ahead and start my pasta. I mean, it's already started, actually, so it should be boiling. Let me see here. Yeah, I see the steam coming out. Oh, wrong side. Yeah, so it's boiling. So I'm gonna go ahead. That should still be enough. Ooh, water. My goodness, my cord keeps getting. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my pasta. Angel hair. Angel hair doesn't take long to cook. It depends on your brand, of course. I think this one is 5 or 3 minutes. Let's see, it says drain well serving. Okay, so this one says 4 minutes. So this one's 4 minutes. So I'm just gonna take a little spoon and kind of slowly bend it. I don't like to have too many small pieces in my pasta, so as it gets soft, you just bend it in there. Okay. Okay, so that should kind of spread it out a little bit. Okay, so there's your pasta cooking. And let's see if maybe somebody can set the timer for me for 4 minutes. Approximately. You know, you can check it after a few minutes, right? So I've got my chicken almost finished here. And while the pasta is cooking, we're gonna do a couple things at the same time. It's almost done. I just want it a little bit more brown. So as you can see, there's little pieces in here because I've done more than one batch. And some of you may be like, I'm cooking for a big family, so you probably do the same thing I'm doing. So once this is finished, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to actually strain out these little pieces so my gravy doesn't have too many dark pieces in it. So I know that sounds complex, but I mean, you don't have to. I mean, if you know it's gonna be like that, it's still gonna taste good. But I just want to. So I'm just gonna do this. Once I get my chicken out, get a strainer and strain out those pieces because I want to use all the flavors in this oil that I've been frying chicken in for a while, a little bit. So almost there. All right, so I didn't have chicken broth, so I love my little Better Than broth paste that I like to have on hand. And I put some in here, and also my cornstarch is in here. So I'm just trying to incorporate that in here, getting it ready so when we are ready to make the gravy, we will not have clumpy gravy, right? So cornstarch. Now, I was thinking while I was doing this that if some of you are gluten-free, you can use gluten-free flour, of course, instead of the flour I use. And then you will be just fine. And then, of course, there's all kinds of gluten-free things now. There's gluten-free pasta. In fact, I tried a new thing that I found at Costco. It's like gluten-free tortillas. And it's so good. It's made with almond flour. And I really like it. Of course, it's a little bit more pricey. Okay. All right. I think the chicken's ready. Yeah, the chicken's ready. It doesn't take long to cook. I just want it to get a little crispiness to it. I'm sure it's finished. Again, like I said, it's really thin. And I was thinking, and don't throw away these little pieces because these are like little chicken nuggets. It's going to be so good. Oops. Oh gosh, getting food everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to move this along here. And I'm going to go ahead and pull out my pasta. I don't strain my pasta anymore. I used to. And so it looks like it should be done. And honestly, I like it a little bit more on the al dente, whatever they call it, side, where it's a little bit chewier. I like that better. So even though I'm taking it out now, it's still cooking. Now, if you overcooked it, you might want to go ahead and rinse it with cold water to stop the cooking process. But I think that this is going to be just fine. Okay, so I've got my pasta ready on here. Move it over here. Let's put a little bit of olive oil on there to keep it from sticking. Okay, why not? Olive oil. Okay, so I'm going to carefully, hope no accidents will come upon all of us. I'm going to carefully see if I can strain this out. I guess in reality you could just use one of those straining things. What do you call it? A spoon? Okay. I think I got most of it in there. So you see how there's some dark pieces in there. So let me turn the stove off for the pasta and turn this on. Okay, so I've got a bunch of this little dark pieces. And move it to a side. Make sure that your colander, of course, is not. We still get a few dark pieces, but still we got those main things in. So now we're gonna add more butter. So more butter for the gravy. This is where all the flavor is. More butter. More butter is better. So we melt that in here. Yeah, you can turn it on medium. Now, if your butter is really soft, I guess you could go ahead and, I should have cut that into pieces, right? So it'll melt faster. Ta-da! From cooking, you don't want to be in a rush, right? People can wait for food. They'll just get hungrier and it'll make your food taste even better. I've learned the hard way that when I'm doing stuff like this and I think I'm pressing for time. In reality, just think, no, you're gonna slow down so it'll be done right. Because I've done before where I'm in a hurry. I don't know why. And I dropped a whole tray of cookies that I had in the fridge and it was ridiculous. Like, same with car accidents, you know? I mean, you should never be in a hurry. Because if you get in an accident, it takes longer to get all that fixed up right. So anyways, sorry, Chris. Okay, so here we got that. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my chicken broth mixture with the cornstarch. It's boiling. Go. And because my pan is nonstick, I'm going to use a nonstick whisk. Whoop. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna whisk it so it doesn't burn. It shouldn't burn, but it'll get thickened in a minute. It doesn't take very long. Make sure you turn everything off. I didn't turn off my water pan. So see, it's already thickening up really, really fast. So I'm gonna add a bit more water because I think I might have add a little bit too much of cornstarch, but that's okay. So you got this. Just add to however thick you want it. Oh, this looks so good. Butter and olive oil and chicken flavors. This is like the best. Okay, I think we're done, really. Maybe I want to add a tiny bit more water. See how that's going? See, it's a little bit clumpy. Add a tiny bit more water. So, and the recipe is like a cup. There we go. Still really thick, but that's okay. I'm gonna incorporate that. Give it a little extra. This is so fun. Look how smooth and velvety that looks. Some people, if you don't have cornstarch, you can use flour, but you'll have to cook it a tiny bit longer. Okay, so I think what I would like a little bit more water. I like my gravy not too thick. There we go. I think that's good now. Okay, I'm gonna put this gravy into my gravy boat over here. Just put some in here. Oh gosh, I'm making a mess. Got this, got this, got this. There we go. Turn off the stove. Okay, we've got our gravy. We've got our pasta. I'm gonna toss this up. It's still hot. Add a little bit of olive oil. Look at moist. Oh, it's cooking over here. Let's add some chicken. So you could serve it like this. Or you could also cut up the pieces and just put it on there, or they can have their own individual pieces. It would be up to you. Okay, so I'm gonna put a few pieces up here. One more over here. I always laugh at myself. I look at the show like, why am I so picky about what piece I put in here? Okay, and then I got some parsley. Let's put some parsley in here. I was gonna chop it up, but just roughly. And then you can have a bowl of salad ready to go with your meal. And let's have a quick taste. I'm just gonna grab a little bit here, not to disturb anything. And I'll just grab a piece of chicken over here. And let's get a little gravy from my stove. Now I love pepper, so I always add, you can provide some pepper, you know, available for everyone. Salt and pepper. All right, you guys. Oh gosh, my cord is getting caught up over there. Yeah. Now, I think the gravy is gonna need some salt and pepper. But of course, that's to taste. So you can just leave it like that and people can just, that little bit of sauce is gonna be so good. So good. Like, partially I'm really hungry, but partially I love the texture that I have on the pasta. Not too much, and that chicken has an extra little crunch because we soaked it in buttermilk and that made it a little bit crispier, and also we have a little bit of flour, so, oh you guys. So, I know it took, it seems long to make, but it doesn't. It's actually really easy. Just fry up the chicken. And you don't have to like marinate in buttermilk. So anyways, so until next time, happy cooking.